Okay, we're good. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hamilton Radio. This is a unique show for us tonight, but not something that we haven't done before. Of course, I'm Doc G. I've got Jerry Petito right next to me.
Hey, Doc G.
Nutritional host. She's going to be the co-host tonight with me over here. And then we have our good friend Danielle, who is a nutritionist. This is called Transform Your Health. Welcome to the show. And Danielle, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm not an actual, I don't have a degree in nutrition. I appreciate you saying that. It's my knowledge over the past 14 years of just learning so much about holistic health and nutrition that kind of led me to this point. From being so ill, I back when I was about 21, I'm 41 now, I hit a huge wall with my health. And I decided after kind of dealing with a lot of issues when it came to Western medicine that I was really going to dive deep into figuring things out for myself. So by day, I work in a school. I'm a guidance counselor. Education has always been my love. So, I'm always looking to learn ways to do things, whether it comes to health, wellness. And that's what I did. I just kind of dove into this different way of living over these past few years. And it did a number, so many different things for my health, from my wellness, my physical, mental, and that's kind of what led me to this point. And that's what made me really also now want to pay it forward and help other people. And I think that's kind of how you and I connected because, so many people are sick. And I want to be that kind of, extending that olive, that help for people that I didn't have when I was in that situation.
No, and I love that because most of us we've had a terrible health through our life.
Right.
And I've been one of them. And I'm kind of going through a lot of stuff right now. Jerry's had some issues as well, but she's overcome them. And that's what this is about. This is about talking how you can overcome them, how you can change them. And go ahead, you comment on something.
So, hi, how are you, sweetheart? So, you're my daughter's age.
Yes.
So, yes, I've been there as well. 30 years ago or so, yeah, wow, it's crazy. 30 years ago or so, I cured myself of colon and breast cancer. I was about 100 pounds. I was very sick. I brought a home colonic system in, and I did a 30 to 60-day water fast. And for the last 30 years, I've been doing 30-day water or juice fast every single year for a month. I lock myself in my home, and I do it. I'm vegan. Everything's organic, everything. So I agree with you 100%, and I'm dying to hear everything you have to say.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's I guess my history, right? That's where to start because
Yes.
that's what led me to that point of getting super sick.
Sure.
When I was 12 years old, I did not get my menstrual cycle on time. I was super thin, super underweight. I'm sure even at that point, right, the toxins in my body were building because I was on so many antibiotics as a child. I had chronic sinus infections, which I'm going to tell you, I don't even believe were sinus infections. Looking back now, I believe it was the dairy, or I know
Absolutely,
it was
1,000%.
dairy, right? The inflammation that builds in the body. If I eat dairy today, I will feel that congestion. I will feel that sinus headache. It's some people think just, you're lactose intolerant. And I'm saying everybody's lactose intolerant. Nobody should be eating dairy, So now what did they do? Up until I was 12, they hit me with all these antibiotics. So that destroyed my immune system. Now I don't get my menstrual cycle on time. So what do? They prescribe me birth control. So as you probably know, this was the beginning to the end. I am now on birth control from 12 years old to 21. Now, not only was I on birth control, I had horrible cystic acne. That was from dairy as well. They gave me 2 rounds of Accutane. Okay. It makes me cringe, right? Thinking about all the things I put into my system. Plus doxycycline, which was another antibiotic for acne. By the time I got out of college, now you go to college, you're not eating well. I was drinking, being a college student. I got out and when I tell you I thought I was dying, I had lymph nodes on the back of my head the size of probably tangerines. I had them all in my neck, my groin area. I actually could not function. I could not get through a day without having to lay in bed for hours at a time. I mentally, what that did to me, destroyed me. You know, you're beyond depressed, you're beyond exhausted. My joints hurt. I mean, one thing, every time I would go to the doctor, it was something new. Something else was wrong with me. And I spent 5 years doing that. And it's so disappointing because each time I went to another doctor, I'm going to tell you that they were just like, they didn't want to hear it. Like, you know, what's your history? Okay, so now if I'm giving you my history, I'm going to need a little time to give you my history. And they just were like, all right, like, okay, so here's another test. Here's another pill. Here's another cream. Here. But you're not listening to me. And you want to know why they're not listening? Because they've got 15 other people in the next hour that they need to see. So it's boom, 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 you know, like they are in and they are out. And it's like, how do you help somebody like that? Did they ever ask me about what my diet looked like, about what my past history, what medications were? They never asked me a thing. And it's such a hopeless feeling, right? When you spend 5 years doing this and feeling like, oh, is this going to be my life? You know, is this the journey I'm on? Because there's no one that's going to help me. And that's when I just said, I'm done. Like I really saw the insides of Western medicine. I had worked in a doctor's office, so I kind of saw a lot of things go on in behind the scenes. And I just thought this can't be it, you know, and I took a year to kind of regroup. And that's when I started doing my own research. And I said, there's got to be a way I can help myself here. And I did.
Well,
I dove into everything.
Before we continue on, let me say, everybody that's in the chat room, stay there and keep your mics muted, please. If you have questions, we're going to let you talk. We're going to ask you to give us any of your information if you want to, and share some of your health stories with us for Jerry and Danielle and me. But what we're trying to do here is to establish a cohesive thing. I always say cohesive because it's easy to say. Cohesive thing between Jerry and Danielle, where we're working as a health, I would say like a health coach type of work together, because she's dealing with things, I'm dealing with things, so we can all benefit from that. And I don't want anybody to interrupt when somebody's talking. So please just wait and we'll get to you, okay? Any rebuttals to what she was just talking about?
So let me ask you something. What do you do now, like for a living? Where do you work?
I'm working in middle school, so I'm a school counselor.
Okay, so you're a school counselor. So things that might be a little tough is when you counsel children and you know their environment is not healthy.
Yeah, what's really tough, that's interesting, is I had a conversation about this the other day, is because throughout one of my assignments throughout the day is to monitor lunch duty. That has me walking around the cafeteria, watching what, these children are eating. And it's so tough, because it's like, I want to be able to say, don't eat that, put that down. The vending machines that are in there that are, these ice creams that are red dyes and all these things that add to learning disabilities and, children, just behavioral problems and the things that, and the fire talkies, like things that are destroying children's health. And it's so tough because I will walk around and I'm like, Danielle, don't do it. Just look away. But it's like, you want to help, that's in my nature, is just to want to help. It's very tough. That is a very tough thing for me.
I want to share something with you because I didn't really know what you did either, because Doc J and I haven't really talked, you're a surprise to me. So I worked in a school system also. And I was approached years ago. Someone got my resume. I never sent it to the school in my township. I don't know how they got it. And they said they wanted me to run the food service so that we could bring more healthy foods in and snacks. Got that? Okay. Well, they lied. They even brought me 3 cookies to match what they were selling, the 3 chocolate chip, the raisin cookie, right, whatever. And they brought them in, and they were vegan, healthy cookies, and I approved them. They never brought them in because of cost. I would hug the children in every school I went, I would just hug the children. They were bringing me up on charges. So I had to get letters from all the parents saying she could hug my child. I walked into the whatever they wanted to call that, and I said, here's letters, hundreds of them. I went like that. Okay, all the parents that said I can hug their children, they said, we're dropping all the charges. I said, thank you, and I quit. So I
Wow.
get what you're saying, because it is a very difficult thing, especially with children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. And it's, it's a shame. And that just goes for anything. It's like, because I kind of picture myself, right, being in that situation and knowing what this food and knowing what this lifestyle right now. And listen, it's way worse than it was even obviously when we grew up, right? We didn't have all these different foods. We didn't have all this hand sanitizer. Okay. The hand sanitizer
It's a killer. I can't even
it's
be
on
near
every-
anyone.
Yeah, it's every wall. It's all the Bath and Body Work ones that are now strapped to the kids' backpacks. Like, it's really toxic stuff. It's spraying. Like, I have
That's
to
right.
say sometimes, guys, we just have to be, we're in a space where we're eating. You can't spray that stuff. Like, it's really tough. But these kids, especially girls, they are being exposed to so many toxins because all these things are being marketed towards, kids. And this is now the path that they're starting on. So it's tough.
Yes, it is.
Well,
Yeah.
let's hear from William. William, I see you're here. Welcome to the show, by the way. What do you have to say, and why are you here? Unmute your mic, please.
Hey everyone,
Hi, William.
Hi.
thanks for having me on. I just came to support Danielle, honestly, but
Nice.
I remember you from our last little Calm Waters Zoom that we do, and I'm a huge advocate of a lot of the same things as Danielle, and more and more daily, I find that the information is just not present that is so pertinent for our health right now, and it's gotten out of control. Everybody's sick and no one has not no one,
Right.
but it doesn't seem to be, our urgency for the answers don't match the level of sickness in our nation, so I'm just diving in to help myself, to help others. I want to know the truth. I want to know how my body works. I want a quality of life. I want a high frequency lifestyle, not a low, sick, stagnant lifestyle, which I think everybody wants. So, is it strange to even look into these things? Why is it so rare?
William, I want to comment real quick because you just said something that just struck a nerve with me. So you said a lifestyle everyone wants. So I'm here to tell you that's not true. And you don't know this, Danielle, either, and you don't know this, Doc G. I spent some time with two elderly friends of mine, and one of them is 70-ish, and one of them is like 75. They're sisters. Both of them with a lot of sickness. Let's just say that. One of them is on oxygen. So we're sitting there. She's got her oxygen, and we're talking about nutrition. I'm a nutritional health coach, William. So we're talking about nutrition, and I actually asked her this, and I said, would you change your lifestyle? Would you change your diet if I could tell you I can cure you right now? And she looked at me and she said, no, I like my ice cream too much. And that's the truth. And Danielle can probably vouch for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's sad.
No, I totally get that. And this is one of the things that I'm outspoken about is because I realized it in myself. I had assumptions in my head about what a lifestyle change was going to be like and what it would bring to my life. And I was under the assumption that it's easier to be lazy, but it's not easier. It's more difficult. It's more difficult to wake up in bed and think about not starting your day than it is to go start your day. And it's especially easier when you raise your frequency, you have energy, you're able to connect with better outcomes. It's easier to do so when you're in that state, but when you're not in that state, it's almost foreign to you. It's like, I can't imagine, like, what else is there that I'm missing? I'm tired, I'm in bed, but you don't understand that you get energy by using energy, and you raise your vibration, every time you make that choice to reach for something better. So I totally get the sentiment, but it's tough to be sick, and it's tough to eat ice cream and have it in your stomach and have the response in your body, but people just don't know what else there is. They don't know what it's like.
And you know what's interesting, Will, on that? Like, so I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said to me, I'm talking to them about dairy, right? Because they're talking to me about inflammation in the body. And I said, listen, you got to go dairy and gluten-free. Like, that's going to be you two things right from the start. And she says to me, well, I only eat it once in a while. Now, I said to them, did you actually know? I said, it takes 3 to 4 months for dairy to leave your system. It takes 6 to 7 months for gluten to leave your system. So people have this thought, but listen, I'll be honest. I mean, that's something that I learned within the past couple of years. I've always known the stuff's bad, but I didn't know it took that long to leave your system. So people now even don't know, like, oh, I just eat it once in a while. It's like, but that's not the point. Like, you've got to really be serious about this. I think also when you haven't experienced real sickness, like Will was saying, like I lived it, right? Like I woke up every day feeling like, I can't do this. Like, I can't do another day like this now, because I didn't want to. Like, I just physically could not do it. Getting up and trying to have to go to work and live my life and please everybody, right? Because I'm miserable. Like, I feel it in my bones, miserable. There's something to be said when you can heal yourself, come out of that, and do it without doctors. It is powerful. Okay. And now I know there's no going back. And now I know that I am in the driver's seat of my own health. If I go to a doctor's office, like I did the other day, I was like, I'm just here for blood work, And I was telling this story. I initially went in because I had a lump here. I don't get excited. It was like 2.5 weeks ago. Told everyone, all right, I'll finally make the appointment. I'll go in. Naturally, by the time I get to the doctor, he's like, oh, I don't feel it. I was like, all right, But he actually says to me before I go to leave, here's the script for a sonogram. I said, well, why would I go for the sonogram when you just told me that you don't feel it? He's like, well, I said, no, I don't want it. And he just laughed. And he's like, oh, okay, then I won't write it. I said, but I actually said, you know what? I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I need to know why. Why would you write me that script if the lump is not there? And he's like, he's like, that's just, we just want to make sure. I was like, you want to make sure, like you can't even actually answer that question though. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're stumped. They're just expecting me to take that, because what does everybody else do? They would take that script, right? That's just the way of the world. Almost.
Well, Danielle, I am they don't know. So I'll be 62. I haven't been to a doctor in 30. Well, I'm lying. I haven't been to a doctor in 29 years. I don't go to doctors. I diagnose myself. I take care of everything natural. Okay? I had an injury, and I always tell people they're there for emergencies. Mm-hmm. So an injury, I had to go. I was pretty much paralyzed in my right arm, and my left knee was from a chair, giant chair. Anyway, long story short, I knew I had to get, sonogram or whatever I needed, whatever. But they laughed at me because as I'm talking, they're already saying, and the doctor laughed and said, so if I write you a script, you're going to rip it up? I said, please write it so I could. And he did. And I ripped it up, and he laughed with me. So I guess it's all like the tone or attitude, that you give them. But I want to share something with you, and you may know this. Do you know where the food pyramid came from that they have in all the schools?
No.
Okay. So I've been studying nutrition, guys, that are joining for over 30 years. And I went to Russia and Asia in the 80s on health tours. And so I didn't have Google back then. So we had to do everything ourselves, right? Well, the food pyramid came from, at the time, the dairy industry. They approached corporate America, the government, and the pharmaceutical industry, and said, listen, if you allow us to do this and put us there pretty much at the top of the food pyramid, dairy, we'll give you kickbacks. Absolutely. And that's where the food pyramid was created, guys.
Wow.
Okay?
That's crazy.
That's
crazy.
That's scary.
Yeah. And there's so many issues for kids. Like that's not even the first thing people look at. Like when you have kids that have, right, chronic ear infections.
Everything. It's all dairy.
Yeah. And
Bone cancer is dairy. Okay, people
Right.
don't understand that. They think it's good for the bones. Calcium, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to
Yeah,
bring on.
it's
Oh, go ahead, Dan. I wanted to bring on the girls from New York because I remember them from the call too, William. I thought, and that's why I remembered you as well. You guys were awesome on that call. And unmute your mic, and anybody else wants to come on, you can also as well come in because we want to hear and see you. But the girls from New York, you guys were amazing on that call. So come and tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you're using the water and you're doing some great stuff. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, thank you for having me on. I'm Alicia. Tatiana's my best friend. She's the other girl. She's the other girl from
Right.
But yeah, so yeah, we've had the water for like a year. And funny enough, talking about injuries, I actually hurt my back. I was helping my neighbor move, I don't want to say like 2 weeks ago at this point. And I actually was picking up something. It was just ridiculously heavy. And I was helping him the night before for hours. Like I helped him move the stuff in the truck and get to the house and unload it. And then the next day he's like, can you just help me with this one more thing? And I'm like, dude, is it heavy? Cause like, I'm tired, dude. Like my whole body was sore, but it was like a good sore. You know what I mean? It was like, I just like worked out.
Yeah.
So I helped him the next day, ended up throwing my back out. I didn't even know that was like, I knew it was a thing, but it just made me feel like old. I'm 32, but it made me feel really old to be like, I threw my back out. And so I'm here drinking the water, and in like less than a week, I was able to like move, like touch my toes, have like flexibility, not like, you know what I mean? And I was just like, I heard too that like, cause I'm like researching it, cause I was like, what is like throwing your back out? And I literally like I was stuck in a position. Like I couldn't move. I was like and I was just like, this is terrible. And I knew I did it to myself because I did too much, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that I did too much, but I'm just grateful that I have the medical grade water. I have medical grade turmeric that's also grown and made with the water and all that stuff. So I was utilizing all the things that I had for myself. And like I said, I wouldn't have gone to the doctor. I wouldn't have gone to any, you know what I mean? I don't even remember the last time I went to a doctor, dentist, any of those things. And like I said, I'm 32. I'm starting the journey now. I'm like you said, it's for emergencies. I always believe that it's for emergencies. If you get into like a crazy accident or something happens and your leg's falling off, well, you need an emergency.
That's
care.
what
You know
they're
I
there
mean?
for.
But like,
Yes.
yeah, that's exactly what they're there for. So yeah, I'm gonna, before I take up this whole
No, you're adorable, by the
I
way.
love her. She's awesome.
You're adorable.
We're all learning. We learn from each other. I learned a lot when I talked to Danielle. I learned a lot when I went to the call. I learned a lot from Jerry. She's like one of my coaches that helps me with stuff. And now she's helping my wife with other things. But the point is, we all learn from each other. And I don't think anybody knows everything. I know some people know more than others, but we all learn from each other. And I appreciate everybody that's here to talk about all that. So yeah, Danielle, with all the medicine that's out there, and the medicine that's not good for you, which is pretty much all of it, because my friend Dr. LeBeau, that lives in Argentina now, she's on I think the Ramble or the Rumble app. They threw her off of Facebook a couple of years ago. She told me then that things were probably going to get really bad for her, so she had to move to Argentina. She has she's still continuing her natural solutions, and she's still a good doctor. She believes in, your health first, but nutrition to health, which is what we all should do. Learn nutrition first, and then medicine if you need it. But I don't think you ever need it.
Whoa. Hold that thought. I'm the first one to say no medicine. But there are times, God forbid you're in a car accident, you're going to need a medicine. So that's why
Again, there's different.
Right, but you just said never. So
no, I'm
never
saying
said
in a general terms, I don't think you should use
medicine on a daily
basis.
But emergencies only, because I don't want anyone out there, God forbid, they're listening to us, right?
That makes
and
sense.
they have an emergency. I want them to know that's when you go. That's all.
Right. I think we're talking about like there's a different kind of person, right? Well, many different kind of people that use it for the fact, like I work with so many people and it's like, like I have a cold, I got to get to the doctor.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They overuse it. And do you know those same people are the ones that get really, really mad when the doctor doesn't give them an antibiotic,
Absolutely.
they
Absolutely.
get mad. And then, I just, the doctor, do you believe the doctor? And I'm over here like, I'm sorry, what are we talking about? Like, you don't need it. And I am very vocal. I'm just like, I've got some oscillocum in the cabinet. I've got some oregano oil. Like, we've got garlic. We've got remedies, because people don't realize, you know what I mean? Many, many years ago, that's what medicine was. We've just been brainwashed,
Right.
to think that it's got to come in a pill form now.
That's
So,
right.
so yes, it's just like the overuse of medication that is not needed literally at all,
That's right.
and that's, we're just, so many people do that. They want it. Like, they get annoyed if they don't get what they want,
That's right.
so it's crazy.
That's right.
But it's just a different way, like kind of what Will was saying, so myself, girls from New York, we also have another woman, Nina. We've come together to try, we do kind of like Zooms, because we've been trying to pull people off of social media, and we've been trying to kind of teach people this. And what's amazing is we do have people coming in, and they want to change. Like, the best people that come in are the ones that kind of didn't know better, you know what I mean? And they like truly like want to better their lives. Like, we give people our phone numbers. I still have people texting me now. They're sending me products. Is this good? Is this makeup good? Is this medicine good? What's an alternative to this cream? What's an alternative to this body wash? Like, I said, send it to me. You know what I mean? If you truly want to change your life, then you're not wasting my time. I'll do this all night long. You know what I mean? If I can help someone detox their body and get healthy, that's another, it's what we do. And it's giving, it's just fulfilling in your own life, because we're changing people's lives. Otherwise, everyone's going to get sick. I mean, that is a fact. Like, if they keep going the way they're going, everyone is going to be sick. And this whole autoimmune thing, you know what I mean, is really just people, the toxins being, you know what I mean, they're just, livers are so overburdened, lymphatic glands, like that to me is autoimmune. It is, your body is just overwhelmed with, what is being put in it and on it. That's the bottom line.
So the other thing is this. So I shared with Danielle. I'll share it with you guys, because I want to say something important. So I wrote a book called "I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd Rather Be a Smart Ass Than a Dumbass." So I changed my entire life 32 years ago. Not just so
William's laughing.
everything in my home is organic, even my mattress, like everything. I'm vegan, I'm a vegan chef, I'm a nutritional health coach, everything. I'm a recovery coach. So I have something to share with you. You were saying how the lymphatic system, and everybody's sick, and everybody's going to get sick. And so what people don't understand is this: only two things, you may know this, Danielle, only two things fuel the brain. Only two things. One is healthy fats, and one is sugar. That's it. Nothing else can get into the brain to fuel it. The brain needs to be fueled, and it needs to be fueled by one thing only, and that's healthy fats. So I'm a lot older than you guys, right? So back then, when they started coming out with fat-free, sugar-free, it started to really kill people. And what's heartbreaking for me is that I always think about my grandmother from Italy. She lived to 100 years old. And she ate white flour, she ate pasta, they made wine, everything was organic though. Nothing had chemicals in it. Like, I'll hear people say to me all the time, "Oh, stop. My grandfather drank and smoked his whole life. He lived to 95. Your grandfather's tobacco was homegrown the majority of his life. Okay? There were no chemicals in the wine he drank the majority of his life. So they don't want to hear it. And that's what's sad to me, because I've worked with so many people, and this was one of the saddest stories. I think I need to share this. So I worked with a woman who reached out to me many years ago, and she said, "I need help. I'm very sick." So I was her coach for probably 6 months. So I meet her daughter at one of the local health food stores picking up something I told her mom she needed. And her daughter said to me, "My mother's not listening to you. She's wasting her money." She said, "She's pretending. She's not doing anything you're telling her. She's making me get her this because it's easy. She could just drink this." I said, "We got to talk to your mom. She really should stop wasting her money if she's not going to do what I'm saying." So she talked to her mother, and we had our last session, And I said, and I'm a Christian. I said, I'll continue to pray for you. And this was very sad. I didn't hear from her for about 6 months, and I get a phone call on her phone, but it's her 2 daughters with her mom's phone, and she was in hospice. She wanted to say goodbye to me and thank me and say goodbye to me. And that was sort of like, it opened up. It was like a light that just, my brain, I can't even tell you what happened there, because I thought about that, and I said, this woman knew she was dying and still didn't make the changes, and ended up thanking me and saying goodbye to me in her hospice bed. So I'm sharing that, guys, to say that a lot of people, again, are making the choices. They're not willing to make the changes. And that's heartbreaking, but it's true.
Yeah, it is heartbreaking, but you're right. And for what reason are they truly not willing to make the changes is what I'm trying to get to. I think, listen, I do feel like a lot of it is people thinking like it's too hard, right? Because that's always what I hear is I'm too busy. I don't know where to start. I can't be cooking my own meals. You know what I mean? Does it take work? Yeah. Do I have to carve out, 2 hours on a Sunday to not only make my meals, but to make my meals for my dog? Yes, I do. Okay. Because I'm also not feeding my dog processed crap. And guess what? If I don't take the time, that affects my life negatively, because I have been doing a lot lately, sort of for others, helping others. And it has been taking away a little bit from myself. And I hadn't had the time to meal prep on Sundays. And I was starting to feel it, not that I'm going out to fast food restaurants and things like that, but I wasn't eating the way I normally would eat. And within a couple weeks, I was feeling that. I was feeling inflamed, so is a couple hours on a Sunday worth changing around your entire life? Yeah. So people would always get frustrated with me. Where are you going? I'm going home because it's Sunday at 2. I need to get home so I can get myself set up for my week, that's coming up. That's what I'm doing. You can think it's crazy. You can, you know what I mean? Whatever your thought is on it, I don't care. I have to do that for myself. And I don't think people are willing to go that extra mile. But again, it's sad because I came from what that sickness was, what it felt like, what it did for my life. And I know where people are going. That's the hard part, is where people are going. And you're trying to say, just stop. I can help you. We can help you, right? We can prevent your life going down a path that you may not be able to come back from, because it could go too far, right? You could just get really, really sick, and no amount of changes can overturn it after doing it for so long. And, you either want it or you don't. That is it. There's no in between. You want to make the changes or you don't.
I agree.
That's all I'm seeing.
That's like what Dr. LeBeau said. And I'll reference to that. She said, let thy medicine be my food, right?
Let thy food be
my medicine. Yeah. And the thing is, she said there's 2 things of food. One is FOOD, the ones we grew up with. And then there's the other food, which is PHOOD, which is the pharmaceutical crap they call food that we eat. We feed our kids, we feed our pets. And then we wonder why they're getting cancer, and then they die. And then all these other things happen. But it's a result of us, because it's not that it's our fault, but it's what we were told to do. It's what we're allowed to do. When I walk through the farmer's market right now, I see all the fresh vegetables. It triggers something in me like when I was a young kid. Fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, grown organically on a farm, naturally, good for your body. It tells you something. When you go to the grocery store, you don't have that. You don't have that. You have tons and tons of stuff. Everything is there. It's got chemically induced. It's brominated sugar. It's all kinds of garbage, and then we consume it.
Okay.
And it's covered in plastic. Everything's covered
Well, we're the
in
guinea
plastic.
pigs. We're the guinea pigs.
Right.
But wait,
Right.
I want to say something about this,
go ahead.
because if we really think it through, guys, right? We still have choices to make. Mm-hmm. So I had to go out of the country. I went all over the world on health tours to research everything. I didn't have Google back then. We didn't have Google.
That's
Okay?
right. Yeah, wasn't around.
Today, I get angry because people have no excuses. It is at their fingertips. Every single thing, if they want the truth, all they got to do is Google it. That's it. The information is there. I wish I could have had that back then. Okay? Listen, everyone still has to make choices. Yes, we're brought up a certain way, right? And then kids want their sugar because now their brain is addicted to the sugar. The brain thinks it's heroin. The brain cannot tell the difference between drugs and sugar.
Or
They think it's
cocaine, yeah,
heroin.
yeah.
Okay? So you have already, at probably 3 years old, started giving your child sugar. So there is not a person alive, and I don't care. I'm going to say this. There is not an adult alive that doesn't believe that has to know sugar is not good for their child while they're giving their child sugar. Okay? So we can be brought up anyway, but we have to take responsibility one day and say, wait a minute, let me research this, and this. And I'm feeling this way and this way and this way. Let me find out the truth. People don't want to. I'm not saying all. There's a lot of us out there, but more not. More not.
But even when it's put in front of them, even when it's
That's right.
I've been doing videos lately, right? I went around Target one day, okay? Took videos of like the ingredients on cereal boxes. I said, let me go to the most popular things that we're giving our kids, right? Pop-Tarts, cereals, some candies, things like that. And I made a reel, okay, compiled. So I did one on just the cereals. I circled all of the bad ingredients that are in it, and I put this up. Now, back before I got censored, because I'm like the big bad person that's trying to help people. I used to get thousands of views on the video. So I had probably 5,000 views on this video. And people said to me over and over again, you want to know the same comment over and over again? I didn't know that was in there. Why would they put that in there if it's bad for us? I thought, okay.
While they're smoking.
Right, but you're not even turning you're literally not even looking at the ingredients. That's what that said to me. You're not even looking at the box or the ingredients. You're just putting it in your cart. How scary is that? Like, that scared me. You know what I mean? That you're trying, and then to say, but why would they put it on the shelf? It's bad for you. Right. I thought, okay, I'm going to need more time with you because we're going to have to start from the very beginning with this one. You know what I mean? Like everything on the shelf is bad for us.
Everything.
But don't look. They don't look. And that's some scary stuff right there.
So on the shelf, the majority of what's on the shelf is sugar. And again, I'm going to say this. They know it's bad for them. Okay? Look, she's shaking her head, right, sweetie? Okay.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is heartbreaking because it's who suffers. When you start this young, all this stuff is now being marketed to kids, whether it's food, it's like we said before when the show started, especially for young girls. Look at Bath and Body Works. Look at Victoria's Secrets putting out all these sprays and these sanitizers and these. It's hundreds of chemicals. So now I'm 14 years in the school system. I have never seen so many children being diagnosed with cancer than I have in the past 5 years. When I'm talking about in my own district.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Let alone all of the kids that I'm hearing. I just spoke to a woman last night, her daughter is 3 years old, let alone even younger children. But I'm talking about just in my own district. I have never heard of so many children and serious cancers.
I'm going to share
bone
something.
Cancer, blood cancer.
I'm going to share something with you. Something with you. Okay. So I had said to you in the beginning before they were here that I've done protests in Trenton, New Jersey, in my town. I'm in Robbinsville, with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for our constitutional rights. Okay? And I'm saying to these two here, my grandson will be 22, never been vaccinated. My granddaughter is 7, never been vaccinated. She's got a nature homeschool. Okay, so all that good stuff. She's vegan. She's 7. My grandson was vegan until he was 11. Now he made his own choices, but he'll be back. Anyway, here's what's happening. Okay?
Your mic is cutting out. It's a little low.
Okay, Ruben, turn me up a hair.
Yeah, it sounds like something just went out a little bit.
Oh, wait, okay. Is that better, guys? Is that better?
Yeah, you're back.
Sorry.
Back. Yep.
All right. But you guys heard what I said so far?
Yes.
Okay. So, you were saying about all the products and all the crap that's in the products, and they didn't know, and all this kind of stuff, right? Okay, so here's the thing. I worked in a school system as well, I shared with you, right? Okay, so I don't believe for 1 minute that they believe, how can I say this? All right, I believe, and this is my belief only, that the majority of people know all the bad things that are in there, but they refuse to research it. Okay, having said that, I'm here to share something with you guys. So I started this journey over 30 years ago, and I read every label. Well, I want to tell you that when I was in school, way back in the day, guys, right? Okay, because I'll be 62. So when I was in school, I can tell you the 2 children that had issues. The 2 children. That's about it back then. Okay? When I worked in the school system, they had tables in the cafeteria. Tables. This was a peanut table. The kid's allergic to peanuts. ADD over here. This one over here. This, okay. Tables of these poor children that had issues. I'm going to share something with you that might shock you. Danielle, I'm not sure if you know this. You might. You work in a school system, but they don't share this information. Schools are now being paid by the pharmaceutical industry in corporate America. If a child seems too happy and laughs too much and runs too much and this and that, they're told to call the parents and tell the parents that they cannot come back to school unless they're put on this med. And the schools are paid per child who they put on these medications. That is why you're seeing all these children getting sicker and sicker and sicker at an earlier age. And that is horrendous.
And don't forget the meds called the side effects too,
Mm-hmm.
which is a lot of the problems that they have in the future, but they guarantee that they're going to have people at the doctor's offices.
Okay?
The
Patience.
bottom line though is no matter what you're trying to treat, okay, whether you're talking about a behavioral issue, whether you're talking about an illness, no matter what you're trying to treat, it's never going to be done with a pill.
Right.
Because you're never getting to the root cause.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So when I see whether we're talking about something for behavioral, I say to myself, but what are we doing about that?
Sugar.
Right? Like, yeah, right. And these preservatives and the food dyes, and we're not getting to the root cause, so, and that's with anything. With cancer, we've talked about that a lot lately. You go in, you get your diagnosis, right? Do they ever try to say to you, how did you get here? What caused you to get here? No, 2 days later, they've got a treatment plan set up for you before you can even think about what you could do to detox your body, right? And do that holistically. They now you're set up for surgery and/or chemo or radiation within probably 2 weeks. They'll have that whole plan set up for you. So it always comes down to we never get to the root cause. We're always just looking at ways of how we can so-called fix it. And the so-called fixing it is making people sicker. That's a fact, we are such a sick nation. We are so sick, and people don't realize it. You don't have to have a major illness to be sick. Those chronic headaches you get, that inflammation in your back, that being tired all the time. People don't realize the being tired all of the time, the depending on the 3 cups of coffee to get up and function. You know what I mean? That is being sick. We are meant to have energy, loaded with energy, but we're not taking care of ourselves, whether it's physically, mentally. The stress level with people is through the roof. So how are we supposed to be healthy? You've got to really try. And like you said before, do people really want to put in the effort? Some do.
Some do, some don't.
Some
We do.
Some
we
don't.
do.
Some
do.
We're
don't.
proof that
A
there's
lot
people
don't.
that want to
Okay.
change their lives and live long as they can
Right.
be and healthy.
Right.
So-
and you know what? We have to focus on the ones that want to. That's what, I no longer want to give my energy, right, to the people that don't want to.
Yep.
Because it sucks the life out of you. I don't care about the judgment. This is my
You're so
life.
right, girl.
What I mean, we need to give the energy to the people that want to. So when I do the Zooms with my team, we like we said, if there's 5 people in there, that's 5 people, okay, that left that Zoom saying, I am going to change my life. So I can lay my head on the pillow at night and be like, we just changed 5 people's lives. And that gets them talking, and that gets them having conversations with other people, you know, and that's how we change the world. Because what are we going to do? Go up against, you know what I mean, big pharma? We're not, but we can work with each other. And I think a lot of people are starting to do that because they don't want to live this life anymore, you know, and we are doing that. We're making changes by doing stuff like this.
Well, I'm going to share one more little
Hear, hear.
story with you before I have to go, guys. It's a pleasure being here with all of you. It really is, and thank you for this. So I have 3 people in my mind right now, and I'm going to share one story, but it can be about all 3 of them because this happened. All right? We have something called the white coat syndrome. So we believe that in that white coat, since we were little, especially my age, since we were little, the doctors used to make house visits and give you a needle. I don't know what was in those needles, okay? So anyway, what happens is if someone has cancer, of course they're going to want to listen to the doctor. And I have doctors and nurses in my family who admire me and respect me and ask me to help. So I have nothing against doctors and nurses because they really truly started their journey wanting to help people.
Mm-hmm.
But their hands are tied with a lot of things. We won't go there. So I'm going to give you one story of someone I've known since I was in my 20s. He was a DJ in our town. And he put something out on Facebook years ago that he was diagnosed with cancer. And I reached out immediately and said, listen, please, please, please talk to me. Let me help you. All my services are free. It's not about money. I want to heal you. Don't go do chemo. Jared, I already started my chemo, but thank you, but I'll keep in touch with you. Okay. So about 2.5 years later, he said he was cured. So I reached out to him again. I said, all right, listen, here's what's happening. It killed the cancer cells, but it also killed the good cells. So it's going to come back, and then it's going to kill you. Please, 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 please let me help you. Jared, no, I will. I promise. If I need you, I will. But I'm doing fine. Okay. So about 2 years later, he put something out there, the cancer's back. So, of course, I reach out again, blah, blah, blah. He says to me, I just got 9 more sessions. I got to do it, Jared. Just let me do it. I said, all right, but listen, I'm telling you, I'm here for you, and I don't agree with this. I get a call from him, and he says to me, can you come to my house? And I said, absolutely. He said, they sent me home to die. So I go to his house. He's got his wife, his daughter, his best friend, and his wife there. I walked in, and he's hooked up to this feeding tube, okay? And I said, listen, I'm going to talk, but I can't look at you because I love you. I'm going to look at your family and pretend it's a stranger I'm talking about. And that's how I had to do this. So I'm talking to them, and this is what I basically said. I said, I'm going to tell you how his journey went, and I'm going to tell you something. I bet he shook the doctor's hand and said, thank you for trying. And they said, how did you know that? I said, because that's what everybody does. Thank you, doc. Well, he's the one who really tried to. Okay. So then I said, in that feeding tube, I said, that's going to kill him. That could stop his heart instantly, what's in there. And I tell them exactly what's in there. His daughter's Googling as I'm talking. She said, how do you know this? And I said, because I've been studying a lot. Long story short, he said to me, is it too late? And I said, Tony, I said, it's too late. He died the next day. And here's the thing. I'm saying that so that your listeners can hear these sad stories of truth. Because wouldn't you want to say, you know what, before it's too late, let me make these changes? Before it's too late, I can do this, okay? Changing your diet and changing your health and changing your environment, your products is very easy. You guys spend money, believe it or not. If you added up all the money you've spent in a year on crap, processed foods, whatever, all the nonsense, it's cheaper to do what we're doing the healthy way, okay? Think about that. So, guys, I got to hit the road, but I wanted to say thank you. Thank you, Doc G, for including me. Okay, it was a pleasure meeting you, Danielle.
Thank you. You too. Honestly, you brought, just a lot of knowledge for people. It's amazing. I really appreciate it.
And guys, thank you for sharing the room.
Absolutely. Have a good night.
Good night,
Guys,
everybody.
if there's anybody else in there that wants to make any comments or anything, I'll just say this about medical people. Not that they're bad people or they're good people or anything like that. But I'm actually studying to become a Dave Ramsey coach. And I'm learning a lot about people. I'm learning about personalities and different things. And when you see the medical student loan cost that some of these doctors have, this kind of puts it in a different perspective for me. I'm like, this is why they have to get as much money as possible. Some of these doctors have up to $670,000 in debt. They're never going to get out of debt. They know that. But to just see that and hear that from a person, it puts you in a different perspective. And you understand kind of why they do what they do, because they have to make the money. They have to pay their bills. They have to live their life. And unfortunately, they have to use the system that they were taught, but not the nutritional part, because they were only taught maybe about 2 weeks of nutrition. So I got a whole different perspective of that. And I see people in a different way. I see what they have to deal with day in and day out. I see different personality types, and I see how they have to deal with things. And as a guidance counselor, Danielle, you would probably notice that too, with different children that come to see you. The parents that are dealing with these things, and the stress goes to the kids. I know a lot of stuff that I deal with goes to my kids, and their stress, it just gets piled up more and more. So the only thing that they know and the only thing they reach for is the easy peasy, slice of pizza, which is, I'm not saying it's bad, but it's not really good for you. You know that. Could be on cauliflower crust, could be a lot healthier, could be made in a lot of different ways, could be made with, even vegan cheese if you want. But the best part of the pizza is probably the tomato sauce, the lycopene on there, right? Other than that, everything else is like, really don't need it. We don't need extra bread in our body. We don't need the bread that's bleached in our body, the flour that's bleached in our body. It's not whole grain. It's not whole wheat or anything like that. But these are some of the things that everyday people don't think about. They just strive for whatever they can, and that's what they do. So I just want to get your comments on the show, guys, what you thought about Danielle. And you guys know Danielle already, but pretty much what you thought about the show, and, what do you guys think about overall perspective of this? And you guys, anybody can unmute themselves and come in and say hi and talk.
I would say if any of the topics we've went over seem confusing or scary or alien to anyone, to take the first step in understanding what Danielle's speaking about, because there are a lot of people who are at that first step, and you get kind of the deer in the headlights, like, should I go here? Should I go there? And you don't go any which way. So don't worry about what other people think. You don't have to go all or none, but look into what some of the topics Danielle was speaking about, and some of these complex ideas get to be relatively simple the more you learn about them, the more you understand our nature and what she's speaking about. They're not that complex. Our health can be a lot more simple than we're kind of taught that it is. So I would just say, if you're curious, it's like getting a second opinion. They say do that at the doctor. Like, find out what Danielle is speaking about. Find out why, were these health topics always alternative, or have they been around for thousands and thousands of years? And learn for yourself. Take that first step and just look into some of these ideas.
I'll say it at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's relearning. That's all it is. It's relearning. Like when we try to help people, right? Like we're trying to teach them. We're not trying to tell them. We're giving them resources. So now, like I said, for example, if someone takes a picture of an ingredient list and sends it to me, and I'm able to say, well, these are the things that are bad. Now you're going to start to learn that. You're going to now start to go to that store. You're going to look at those labels and you're going to say, okay, these things are bad. So that overwhelming feeling, like William's talking about in the beginning, I don't know what any of this is. All you have to do is reach out or do your own research, you know, but we are here and people are available to help. And then you will start to learn that stuff and you'll go to the store and it will take you, you know what I mean, 2 minutes to just kind of look through your stuff and know what not to pick up. That's what you need to know, what not to pick up. And the majority of the time, everything that I see in people's carts should be back on the shelf or in the dumpster for all, you know, seriousness, but it should certainly not be in their carts, you know, so that's it. It's just taking that first step for sure.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I agree with all that. My friend Ruben, I don't know if William and Girls in New York noted it, but he wants to show a video real quick and then we can end the show. Do you know how long it is, Ruben?
Without talking.
About 4-minute long video. So if we have time, we could show that. If you guys want to make any other comments or where people can find more information either about you or the water, because I think the water is, you know, again, 90% of our body weight. It's very important to what we drink and stop putting garbage in our, you know, bodies, like a lot of sugar and a lot of stuff.
Definitely. I would tell people to reach out to me on social media. You know, it's Danielle Ruccia. I would even, can I include my phone number in this talk? Because in all honesty, social media is so jaded. So can I
would
is that okay?
say just use your email because you're going to get flooded with so many calls and spam calls.
Okay. So yeah, my email, I can include that. It's dah624@gmail.com. Or like I said, Danielle Ruccia, it's, you know, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. It's all kind of the same username. So yeah, we definitely, you know, this is something we educate people on every couple weeks. So if it's something that interests you, I'll also be posting Zooms from our Calm Waters group. You know, we're just trying to teach people, you know, so it's, Gino, this has been great, you know, because it's just another step to reach other people that, you know, we haven't done so at this point. And these little baby steps, it's just like, it'll get out to more people. You know, this is the goal.
Well, that's what we're trying to do. Anybody else want to leave any emails? William, do you want to leave an email or no? Unmute yourself, William.
You're muted.
I just say reach out to Danielle. You know, we're all a community, but
okay.
But yeah, reach out to Danielle. She's got you covered.
Okay. And they can reach out to me at admin@hamiltonradio.net as well, and I'll be glad to forward anything on to the group or Danielle as well. All right, Ruben, anytime you want to start that video. Thanks, everybody, for being here. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate your time. And we hope to hear from you again. Go ahead, Ruben.
Thank you, guys.
All right, he's going to run the video right now.
Okay.
It's, do you know, can you get the microphone and tell him? Go ahead. Go ahead. He's going to pick up the microphone and tell you what it's about. All right, here he comes. This is my co-partner, Ruben Rodriguez of Iron Horse Films, Hamilton Radio.
Oh, there it is. Hey, very interesting topic to you guys. I was listening in, and I was, when you guys were discussing about the vaccine and stuff like that, you know, I haven't been vaccinated in like 22 years when I found out when I was 18 what was in it and stuff like that. So as soon as I got out of high school, I stopped getting vaccinated with anything. And to make a long story short, when you guys were talking about the COVID and everything like that, the irony of it, while I was watching one of the news programs tonight, actually on Fox News, over in Europe, they came out with a thing about COVID, and Pfizer, one of the Pfizer executives over in Europe, admittedly said to in front of this, I forgot what country, but it's on the video, that when you take the COVID shot, it doesn't prevent transmission at all. They never admitted to saying the guarantee that you will not get COVID after you take the shot. So I recorded it last night, and I was wondering if you guys like to see it, video.
Sure. Yeah,
Sure.
I just saw an article about that today, but I haven't had time to jump into it. So it'll be
Yeah,
educational.
it's like
sure.
it's like 4 minutes long. If you'd like to see it.
Okay. Sure.
All right.
Thank
Give
you.
me just one moment here.
All right. I actually will talk about the situation with people picking out food. The companies that were, say, organic, are now, a lot of them are bought out by big companies, but they did not take their organic signature off. They did not take their GMO verified signature off, any of that, because they know that their sales would drop. But it's not, and it may not be the same product that you're getting. It may be close to the same product, but it now may, because it's owned by another company, doesn't have to exactly be ungenetically modified food. It could have genetically modified ingredients in the other parts of the ingredient list, not the main one. And that's something that we've got to get into in the future and talk about that, because that's something that's
Definitely.
important to me,
Definitely.
knowing what you're eating.
Yeah. 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 And ways to take pesticides off the food. That's what we talk about with the water, because there's still pesticides on organic food.
And wastewater that's, very, very bad for you too.
Right.
Yeah. And there's a lot of times that I see organic is not as good as the frozen foods.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned this once before too. Let me know when you're ready, Ruben. But I have a person that worked at another local supermarket. I won't say the name, but they actually took labels off the organic food when they ran out of the organic food, and took the labels, the number 9s, and put them on the organic food. So people were paying higher for the fruit, thinking it's organic fruit, which is fraud to me, but they're doing it.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And go ahead. He's going to share the screen, right? Okay. Yep. I don't know. Not yet. I don't see anything yet. No, I don't see anything.
I can see Tucker Carlson like on a screen, but I don't know. I don't.
Oh,
hear
Okay,
anything.
thank
Okay, she
you.
can see
That's
it.
what I was trying to
Yeah.
ask.
I could see it. Yep.
Okay.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Tony Fauci anymore. He's been unmasked as the sinister buffoon he is. But it wasn't that long ago he was in charge of everything. And when he was in charge of everything, he told us repeatedly that if you get the COVID vaccine, you're not going to get it.
Gonna echo.
And for the virus, said Tony Fauci. And so widely accepted was that statement that Twitter banned anyone who disagreed with it or even questioned it as part of its COVID misinformation policy. But it soon became clear that that itself was misinformation, because of course you can get COVID and pass it on if you've had the shot. And in fact, that shouldn't be surprising, because Pfizer, which made the vaccine, never even tested to see if it prevented the transmission of COVID. What? You'd think they would know that, since Tony Fauci and everyone in the U.S. government and everyone at your kid's school and everyone on television and Morning Joe and all the rest of them knew for a fact, but Pfizer didn't even know. And we know that because Pfizer executive Janine Small answered questions on Monday at the European Parliament, and here's how it went.
Was the Pfizer COVID vaccine tested on stopping the transmission of the virus before it entered the market? If not, please say it clearly. If yes, are you willing to share the data with this committee? And I really want a straight answer, yes or no, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Regarding the question around, did we know about stopping immunisation before it's entered the market? No. We had to really move at the speed of science to really understand what is taking place in the market.
Oh, the speed of science! That's the speed at which you're moving too fast to do science. And you just sort of hope for the best and yell at anyone who disagrees with your preferred and hoped for outcome. The speed of science. Rob Rose is the man you just saw on tape. He's a conservative member of the European Parliament. He's from the Netherlands, and we are grateful to have him on tonight. Rob, thanks so much for coming on. Did you know the answer to that question when you asked it, and were you shocked by what she said?
Well, good evening, Tucker. It really was a special moment. For the first time, Pfizer admitted that the vaccine was not tested on stopping the transmission of the virus when it entered the market. And this has massive implications. Governments pushed millions of people worldwide to get vaccinated by telling them, telling you to do it for your grandmother. And they tricked perfectly healthy young people into taking this jab using false arguments. And they used big words such as antisocial to sow an immense hatred against people who refuse to comply with the government's wishes. And even worse, many governments, including mine, actually introduced so-called COVID passports. These passports made access to parts of society conditional. Those who did not wish to get vaccinated lost that access, not being able to visit a restaurant or a gym, all in the name of public health. Our governments love to talk about institutional discrimination, but this was real institutional discrimination.
Yes.
In many countries, like the US and Italy, vaccine mandates were introduced for certain professions. Many people lost their job, their livelihood, their business, because they stood by their principles. Austria even had a lockdown for the unvaccinated because of this reason. The government literally imprisoned people within their own homes. All of this was based on the idea that vaccination helps prevent the spread of the virus. Otherwise, why should people out of society? But this has now proven to be a big lie. Even the president of for international development market of Pfizer now admits that there was no scientific basis to say vaccination would stop the transmission of the virus. And I find this one of the biggest scandals of our time. The politicians responsible for this will be angry that people are looking back at this time, but I won't forget what they did to millions of people. And if we are a democracy, we should have accountability, and that's what I'm calling for.
Yes. If we are a democracy, and by the way, Pfizer knew this. None of its executives bothered to correct these politicians, and yet no Pfizer executive has been charged with the crime that they committed, which is pretty unbelievable. I wish we had more politicians like you in Washington. Rob Rose, thank you for coming on tonight. We are really grateful.
Thank you for everybody being here and being part of this. And hopefully we can do it again soon. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gino. Have a good night.
You too, guys. Bye-bye.